Hi, so this is Ginny again, and Jelly Belly is right behind me, and Pika's in my lap, but you can't see her right this second. And we're going to continue with the Wild Women of Lake Anna. It's backwards, I know, sorry. And this is chapter 15 called Taking the Tiller. You know, they were in a boat. So, at Sugar's direction, Bailey opened the two bottles about the size and shape of a cigar, reached over the side of the boat, put her hand in the cold water, and filled each. She tightly screwed the caps on the bottles and gave them to Sugar, who wrote on the labels and then put them in a padded thermal container. Sugar told Bailey they needed to take at least 2 samples from each spot where they stopped, just in case one spilled or broke. Altogether, they stopped at 4 different locations. After they sealed and labeled the last of the bottles, Sugar pulled the sandwiches out of her jacket pocket. Bailey had made them with so much peanut butter and jelly that the edges of the bread were gooey, red, and drippy. Can't you just picture this? She was so hungry from being outdoors, she wished she had made another one to split with Sugar. Bailey licked the raspberry jelly off her fingers before rinsing them in the creek. Sugar said, "I'm going to appoint you my official sandwich maker. This is the best ever." Bailey was more pleased than she let on. Excuse me. Back in Florida, she had done a lot of cooking because her mother was often home late from work. And she'd been making her school lunches for years, ever since she'd been in first grade. Her mother often bought cold cuts and let Bailey use as much as she wanted in her sandwiches. Molly didn't know that sometimes when she was very little, Bailey would just make bread sandwiches. She wouldn't put anything between the slices because she felt lazy, and then she would trade them for something better the other kids brought. Bailey dropped a piece of crust in the water and watched a hungry fish grab at it as the crumbs slowly settled toward the bottom. Contrary Creek had narrowed. Bailey could almost touch the roots of tree trunks on the reddish banks of the shore. Bailey saw 3 deer standing very still where the water was too shallow for the boat to continue upstream. The deer glided into the woods when Sugar said, "Okay, time to head back." She turned the little boat around and motioned to Bailey to join her on the narrow seat nearest the engine. Bailey walked carefully toward the back, or stern, as Sugar said the back of a boat was called. She didn't want it to tip over and dunk herself into the cold, cold water. Sugar said, "Put your hand with mine on the throttle. Turn it a little at a time until the boat is going just the right speed. That's right. Turn it a little more. Good." Sugar removed her hand once they were underway. When you want the boat to go to the right, that's starboard, push the tiller towards your left. If you want to go left or port, push it to the right. Bailey nodded. "It's just the opposite of steering a bicycle," she said. "Now, see that gray house with the blue slide on the dock over there?" asked Sugar. "Aim toward it for a little bit. I'll tell you when to change course." Bailey felt the warm sun on her face. She liked the way the tiller felt in her hand, and the way the boat changed direction when she moved the tiller just slightly. Water rippled behind the boat, sending small waves toward the shore. "The lake gets very busy on nice days, especially holiday weekends and during the summer," said Sugar. "A lot of people have vacation cottages or homes here. And then there are people who like to camp and picnic at the state park. We'll go there soon. There are some good hiking trails. During the summer, they let visitors see the ruins of the Goldwyn gold mine, and they can learn how to pan for gold." The fishermen were no longer under the bridge. Once Bailey and Sugar had left Contrary Creek, Bailey could see 2 small sailboats in the main part of the lake, and the boat launch was visible in the distance. Bailey didn't want the trip to end. She was really enjoying steering the boat. "Do we have to go back?" she said loudly over the putt-putt of the engine. Sugar said, "Well, maybe we can take a little ride now that our business is done. Turn a little more to starboard and increase the speed." The little boat seemed to fly over the smooth lake. Bailey took off her hat so the wind could blow through her hair. "Maybe I can learn to be a wild woman," she thought, "and maybe even have a boat adventure." Yikes, yikes. Okay, and chapter 16 is called Disappointing Trip. I wonder what that's about. "So how's your gold mining project coming?" asked Sugar, as she chopped onions and peppers for a meatloaf. Bailey helped by peeling, washing, and buttering the skins of 2 large baking potatoes. "Pretty well. We have committees working on different things. My group has to make a map and locate where the mines were in Louisa County. Another group is looking into the process of gold mining, and the third group is supposed to find out about the lives of some of the early settlers in Mineral." "How will you locate the mines for your map?" asked Sugar, as she mixed the breadcrumbs into the ground beef. "I've heard that some of the mines are now under the water of Lake Anna." "I don't know for sure," said Bailey. "How about getting in touch with the local historical society? They might have just the information you're looking for," suggested Sugar, patting the top of the loaf after she put it in the pan. "I know people who might be able to help you, and there should be resource books in the library." "Thanks," said Bailey. "Do you know how to find the mine near Contrary Creek?" "There were lots, about 40 I've heard, and the Rough and Ready furnace. The Tender Flat Gold Mine was one near the Route 522 bridge. I'm pretty sure one used to be down that logging road that's about a half-mile from here. Doubt there would be much left of it now. The mining here happened more than 100 years ago. Mine shafts collapse, but sometimes you can see the stones from the old walls." "Have you ever tried to find it?" asked Bailey. Sugar didn't answer right away. "Well, I've been down that road a little ways. I guess not." She answered like she didn't want to talk about it further. "Mrs. Dudley said that if we do a good job, we can enter the project in a contest," said Bailey, "and maybe it will be displayed at the county fair." Sugar said, "That sure would be nice." Oh, excuse me. She had seemed a little distracted since she had opened mail and read another one of those reports from the laboratory. "It's not good. Worse than ever," she muttered as she read. Bailey said, "Were those from the samples we took?" She felt proud that she was helping Sugar get information. "Unfortunately, yes," said Sugar. "While the meatloaf is baking, I need to give Harry a call. I think it's time for us to take a further look in the woods." Bailey heard Sugar tell Harry that the following evening they should meet at her house. His wife would stay with Bailey until they returned. "Bring your big flashlight," she said. Bailey wanted to say, "Let me go too." That's what a wild woman would have said, but she knew her grandmother would say no. Bailey worked on her homework while Harry's wife watched Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy on TV. Sugar and Harry had been gone only an hour. Bailey had never paid as much attention to the grandfather clock bonging out the quarter hours as she was doing now. Shadow and Sally were curled up on the couch as Bailey closed her science book and went to the window. It was too dark to see anyone or anything. Why didn't Mrs. Smith seem concerned? When her game shows were over, she changed to the Discovery Channel to watch a program about exploring the pyramids. Bailey tried to concentrate on her math problems. She was worried that something terrible might happen to Sugar. What about bears? What if Sugar and Harry had been eaten by bears? The clock bonged 9 times. Where were they? Her homework was finally done, and it was time for bed. But Bailey knew she couldn't sleep unless she was sure that Sugar had returned safely. Just then she heard steps on the porch and her grandmother's voice. As Sugar and Harry came inside, her grandmother said, "Nothing. We found nothing. Nothing at all. I don't know where we go from here. It's a mystery." Okay, that's it for now.